everybody, welcome back to Power Play Garage. Today is another day and we're doing something a little different, and that different is on a 2018 Dodge Challenger TA. Yep, nice car, good client, same client that owns the 68 Plymouth Roadrunner. Yeah, it has a couple of stuff, and this is actually his wife's car, Lisa. Thank you, Polly. But anywho, there are two things that are being done on this. One, front brakes and rotors, and he has a noise coming from the rear end of this. Not sure what it is yet, just getting started. I'm going to point out a couple of things here. First, I mentioned the brakes. Anybody that has any high-performance cars, whether it's Ford, Chevy, Dodge, doesn't matter, Extreme actually sells, let's see if I can zero in on that. There you go. Sells pads and rotors. I use them on my own cars. I actually have a Challenger as well. And once again, not being sponsored, but the Muscle Car Magazine or American Muscle. Yeah, that's it. I did a few videos for them, and they actually did sponsor me. It worked out well. I haven't done anything for them in a while. I really didn't. There's really not much that I get from them, but I get enough stuff. But anything I gotten from them, I did a video on it, and they sponsor you, and they give you credit in their store, so to speak. So, and worked out well. I liked them. I like their product. This stuff here, it does work better on the vehicle and creates a lot less brake dust, a lot less. So I would recommend them. They do work. There is a break-in period you got to go through with them, a process. You speed up, you put the brakes on, that kind of thing. So I always recommend you read basically the ingredients so you know what to do when you take it out on the street. I will not be doing it. I don't do that to the client's car, but I let them know that that's what they got to do, because I really don't like driving other people's cars. If I have to test drive it for one reason or another, that's one thing, but to do the performance break-in, no. Let the client do that. It's a lot safer. So I'm going to talk about something else I saw in a video. Actually, yesterday I thought was kind of funny. The person was working on a truck, a pickup truck, and on a lift, just like this one, and they had it up in the air to where they were working at it, chest height thing. And he said a buddy of his explained to him how to pick up that big heavy tire and get it up on the hub a lot easier than what he was doing. And I found both ways to be funny. I think the easiest way to put a tire on or off a vehicle, whether a car, truck, whatever, is to have it pretty much almost on the ground. And knowing that I used to work on road tractors, as in 18-wheelers, those babies are really heavy. And that actually the other company that I worked on, fire engine ladder trucks, they did have big lifts for them. And the last thing they would have you do is try to lift them darn tires up and try to get them on or off the vehicle. In this case, I'm going to show you and demonstrate on the better way of not lifting the tire at all to get the wheel off. Even though it's a car and they're not as heavy as a truck, but the principle is still the same, a lot the same. So I'm going to move you to where you can see what I'm going to be doing. Zero down in, and hopefully you'll catch what I'm doing, so that this way, if you're able to, even if you jack the car up, you'll be able to do it a lot easier. And I only have it maybe 2 inches up off the ground. I got the impact gun ready. They got locks on the wheels, and I got a flat shovel. You can use a sand shovel, a spaded shovel. And actually, this is, I believe, a roofing type shovel. I've used it for roofing when I was in that trade. And matter of fact, the client also does roofs. So I'm pretty sure you'll find this quite amusing. You put the shovel underneath the tire just to get started. So I find that video was quite funny. All right, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and number 5. Okay, so now you can see the lug nuts are off, and this is stuck to it because it's aluminum to metal. So I kind of expected that. So you just give it a little tap, and then you push down on the handle of the shovel, and that keeps the tire from the wheel, I should say, from hitting anything. And you just slide back the shovel. Metal and concrete go great together. It slides real easy. And then once you feel you've cleared the car, all you have to do is roll the tire off. Never lifting a darn thing. And you could do that with a longer shovel, longer sand shovel if you have the room. In this case, my one with the handle is a lot easier. And I'll put it back on the same way. Yeah, I found that was kind of funny. Yeah, and the guy was doing something like, face the actual finished part of the wheel to the vehicle, and then lift it up, leverage thing there. I'm like, man, that's being a circus clown. Absolutely. See, I didn't have to lift it. And then, especially if you're dealing with really expensive wheels and tires and all that fancy stuff underneath there, this keeps it safe. You don't ever have to worry about when you get it up off the lug nut studs there and you pop it back and then it, slams down onto the caliper. You don't have to worry about any of that. You don't have to, because it's low to the ground. It's only a couple inches up. You slide it back and you call it a day, and you put it on the same way. So once I have the other one off the same way, then I'll lift the car up and work on it. So I'm going to do that. And in the meantime, before I start taking it all apart, I'll chime back in. So stand by. All right, I am back, and I'm about to show you what it takes to remove the brake pads and the rotors. So I stepped ahead so that it wouldn't drag out to be so long. And what you have is the first element that you will end up loosening up. There's a pin-like sleeve. It's got a unique shape to it. And it goes here into the center, slides through, and it ends up behind the plate that you'll see here out here in the face side of this. And the nut is on the other side. So you got to take that nut out, which is right here. And I believe it is a 13 millimeter. And you'll undo it from the back side, and then you'll tap this out. And this one is kind of rough, so I know I'll be cleaning it up before I put it back in there. And then once you get that out of there, then you can take the two pins out, these right here. And they go towards the center of the vehicle, so you'll need a punch similar to this, and you will tap them out free till it unlocks. And once it unlocks, if you're having a hard time actually getting them to slide, because they should slide, then I recommend getting a screwdriver in there and release the brake pads from the actual rotor. So this way, once you release that pressure by, pushing these, would be a six-cylinder. Yeah, I guess that's what they call them little things in there. Those little pistons, the little piston cylinders there. There's 6 of them, 3 on either side. And once you get it released, try to get them all the way back in, because you're going to need to anyway, especially when you put the new pads on. And then you can finish tapping out those pins. The box will come with new ones for the top and the bottom, and that center clip. Once you get them off and out, they just slide out. So if you were just changing pads, you don't have to remove the caliper. You don't. It's just a matter of those 3 points, top, bottom, and the center. Preferably center first, top and bottom. Take that holder out and slide out the brake pads. And it's that simple. That part isn't so bad. You might have to fiddle with it, like I said, when it comes to getting them out. And then you have 2 bolts if you're going to be changing the rotor. In this case, we are. And they are a 21 millimeter bolts. There's 2 of them back here that hold this caliper on. And I have already arranged with a bungee cord. So once I slide that out of place, I can take the pressure off of the hose, because I don't want it hanging, and I'll hook it to that to keep it out of the way. And then you should be able to take the rotor off. Once the rotor's off, obviously you put the new one on, But before I kind of put it on, I do end up taking brake clean to the new rotor, especially to the inside part where I really won't be able to get at it very well. And I spray clean, make sure there's no oils or shipment type stuff that preserves the metal from surface rusting, flashing. So I do that first, and then once it's on, then I spray the front of it to make them nice and clean and free of any sort of oils and stuff like that. And then you just go back and you reassemble what you just took apart. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to turn this off, put a light down. I'm rolling it upward. They're pretty light. They're not heavy. I believe they are made out of aluminum. And I have it hanging on the hook now, but I'm going to find a better way. I don't like that way. Nope. So we'll bring it right back up. There you go. Get that silliness out of the way. And the two bolts can remain back there in the spot. See, they're not that big. You will have to clean them, and you will have to use Loctite back on them. And I will be. So they're off. It's in place there, so, you know, they don't get missed in place. And then it just comes right off. This actually weighs more than the caliper itself. And boy, are they dirty. Need the brake clean, so I'm going to spray it in the plastic in the box. Driver side, see that? Which would mean front left. They even have it marked. And as you see how I'm grabbing it, my fingers are not touching the backside, knowing that I just sprayed it clean. So not only is that part easy enough to deal with, it identifies with the white tag down there. It says front driver's side, in case some people don't know that driver's side is left side, passenger is right. So this will go in there. It's not going to really stay in place until you put the caliper back on and get that bolted up. But before I put that caliper on, I'm going to get a clamp and apply pressure to the pistons there and push and make sure they're all the way back in, so that this way when I put the new brake pads on in there, it should go in there quite smooth. So I got to go wash up because I really don't want to start manhandling this based on the filth on there, and just in case I don't want to get the backside dirty. So until the next step, stand by. Okay, I'm back and I'm reassembling. One of the key points I want to put, other than the fact that I am using blue Loctite, I have it just placed in. I don't have the nuts all the way, the bolts all the way in. But in order to keep the rotor in place, just grab one of the lug nuts and put it towards the bottom. And you don't have to tighten it, just finger tighten it, and it'll hold the rotor in place. So as you're slipping the caliper over it, it's a lot easier to line up, because if you don't, you're going to be kind of fighting with it, and it just gets annoying. So now that I have both of those in place, the two bolts, I will take the top one out first. It's the best one, I think, to take out as far as when you're starting to put the Loctite on there, because it just stays balanced better for me. You could try the bottom one, but I think you might be fighting it a little bit more. There we go. Did you see him using the blue Loctite? Yep. It's on there pretty good, actually. Might be a little more than needed, but see, this way I can do my thing with that, you know, as far as that goes, and just wiggle it around a little bit, do what you got to do with it, and finger tighten it all the way to in there, and it should. Yep. So now there's a little less play in there, and now I'm going to back the bottom one out. Here it is. It's clean. Here we go. Actually, this is a fresh tube, believe it or not. It's going in really nice. It's all the way in. Now I'll use my impact 1/2-inch drive. I know that bad boy's tight. That puts in one hell of a wallop. Bridget, I've spoken of these tools before, and once again, not being sponsored, but I really do like them. They work really well, and they really put a wallop, especially that style 1/2-inch drive. So to verify that it's tight, my really long ratchet from good old Snip-on. I just want to make sure they're tight. Holy cow, it's tight. Yep. It didn't move at all. So that's why I know using that particular 1/2-inch drive gun that it torques them. It really does. And with the Loctite on there, I'm in no fear of them coming back out. So that's all that matters. The brakes will remain brakes. So now it's just a matter of putting the brake shoes in. So I just took the package out of the box. Both sets of brakes are in one package, and there's 2 separate packages for the rest of the hardware. So I'm going to place that up there because that's just one of the 2. And then I'm going to move that out of the way and put the new pads up there and out of the way and grab the other bag. See, here's the second bag. Now, this particular first bag does not have the slide pins in it. I don't know why there's 2 separate bags. As far as that goes, both of these look the same. It only takes one. And this is going to be the one that I will open up, and it does have 4 new slide pins in there. I will be using them. This one's going to go aside. I don't know its purpose. I will check. I do believe that these would be the more correct ones, because when I look at them through the bag, this doesn't have like a or kind of like a separate receiver like these do. There's a little catch in there where the rod will actually go through there. So I know these are the ones because it matches the original factory ones. So those are the ones we're going to use. Yep. And it also gives you, it's like a lubrication, and it even shows you where to apply it, and it goes on these, and it's actually for the pins, or the partly that, so I guess they move properly, or the brake pads move properly, whatever it is. But it comes with instructions, so follow the instructions. It's not hard. It's just a little bit more to do, a little more time. And you just put the new pads in. I'm going to have to clean my hands again. Put the new pads on. I just want to make sure everything is clean. I don't want no oils, no dirt on the shoes or on the rotor itself. So up until they're actually in, stand by. Okay, as you can see, it's all assembled, and I did use the blue Loctite for the little bolt back here. Don't get carried away trying to, crank that baby tight. No, you don't do that. It's small. You'll end up stripping it. Just keep that in mind. But you should put a little bit of Loctite on there. I do know that it does come that way from the factory. And if you're dealing with original factory stuff and you're taking it apart and you can't get it loosened without like rounding the head off, just take some heat to it. Nothing major, nothing crazy. You can get one of them butane torches that plumbers use, and just heat the nut up, the bolt up, and it will allow the Loctite to pretty much come loose, come free, or whatever. That's pretty much the best way to do that. And I just got done spraying it with Brake Clean and made sure it's all nice and pretty and clean. And the wheel's ready to go back on. But we won't put them back on until I go to lower it. And I could take the lug nut off, because now I don't need to have it on there, in case I forget to take the thing off when I'm going to slide the wheel on, which would make sense. I don't think I would not see it, but yep, there it is. I'm going to put this next door on this side. I got it hanging on the coil spring. Yep, everything is done. I'm just looking, verifying. Those shoes went in there pretty nice. Everything worked out well, and you will have to tap those pins in with the little small ball peen hammer, and you'll know it's all the way in. It will stop, obviously, but the point of them will be shown. The full point will be shown. And then you can rotate it back, because you're going to need to, for the other side. And I think I'm going to spin this and take a picture of that showing driver's side. Yeah, front driver's side. And it says front, not rear. Yep. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to point to that. I don't want to look like I'm giving the photograph the finger. This way, if someone's checking out my Instagram page, which is Radical Curves, is my Instagram 157. That is my Instagram page. That's actually my business company's name, Radical Curves. Power Play Garage is the YouTube channel. I tried to use my business name. Someone else had something similar, and I just didn't want to kind of compete or interfere with all that. So now you see how it's done. I'm going to go do the same thing to the other side, and then I'm going to investigate the rear end of that noise that he was speaking of and see if I can find something. But until then, stand by. All right. The next part of this is I just checked his differential gear oil, and actually he was a half a quart low. I think they hold a quart, maybe a little bit more. I don't know how much more, but full pint, like I said, a half a quart. I think that's a fair amount considering the type of rear end it is. He said he was hearing a noise, I guess around a turn or something like that. I checked everything possible that I could look at underneath here. Basically the axles here seem to be real tight, on both sides. I don't see any rubbing marks of any kind anywhere, as I have checked, other than the fact that he knows he needs rear tires. Yep, real bad, needs them. And I guess he ran something over, and I'm going to try to clean some of it up. All this plastic and hard plastic. And that's him calling. So in the meantime, stand by. I have to chat with him. All right, I'm back from the chit chat with the client. I just got done scraping some of the heavy plastic that was stuck to this here, the exhaust. And now this is clean now. The Brake Clean did clean it up nice. And as far as I could tell, as I was mentioning to him, I don't see anything that would simulate rubbing of anything, like the tire on anything, whether it's the inner fenders or I don't see any marks of any kind. The thing looks dirty and no fresh marks. I don't see any worn out bushings. I don't see any springs out of their perch. So, as far as I can tell, everything looks like it's in order. Yep, his brake shoes look good. I explained to him, he probably got half. So I think when it comes to that, I don't think it's his brakes making those noise. And this seems to be pretty tight, including the drive shaft. Yep, it's normal. The little bit moving back and forth. Everything up here looks fine. No play in there. No leak up in the transmission. No leak up here at the front end of the rear chunk. No leaks over where the shafts go into there. One of the great things that I think that Dodge created here, when you go to change gears, if you ordered it with certain gearing and you wanted to change it, because when I would order my cars, the first one that would come standard would be a little more friendlier for the highway, and then I decided on the second car I wanted it a little bit more off the line, so I ordered a different gear ratio from the factory. So another friend of mine, he ordered it the standard, and then later on, he purchased the gearing that he wanted for his Challenger. And the price wasn't bad. It wasn't like it was a couple $1,000s. It was pretty fair price considering if you bought a ring and pinion and all that for it, and based on what they actually sell you, you get the whole chunk, the whole section here. And it's actually easier to change out than if you had to take this out, which you would have to pull the rear cover out and start going through all that silliness where you get the whole assembly. And you just unbolt, pull the axles out, and slip everything in there, bolt it up, put the axles back in there, and you're good to go. So that's the one that I think is a good feature, a good way of doing it. This way, everything comes tight and right, has the right amount of flashback and stuff like that setting in there. And this way, you don't have to worry about it if you're doing it yourself, getting in there and changing all that stuff. But that's just my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. But everything, like I mentioned, seems to be pretty good. So now I'm going to get back to the front. I mentioned to the client what I discovered, and I'm going to finish up the front. And that's going to be that on this nice 2019 Dodge Challenger TA. That's right. Up until that point, I guess there's really no need to actually film anymore, because if you're going to do one side, the opposite side is the same. It's no different. And you just go through the process. You can see I got a lug nut here on there to keep this square. And then I'll place this back in there. I already squeezed the pistons back where they belong so I can slide in the new brakes. I already greased up the pins, the two pins. I didn't show it on the other side, but I'm showing it on this side. You put them in two different areas on there. It's where basically the brake shoe holes that these go through ride on. They don't really touch them that much, but I guess a little bit there. And they don't give you much grease in those packages, I'll tell you. Small package and even a lesser amount in there. So just a matter of cleaning the center shaft. I did do the other one. I'm going to clean that first. And then obviously lower the car. And as you can see, the car is up there from earlier when I was mentioning about how to take the wheels and tires off. Whether it's a truck or, a car, you use a shovel and have it down, because that's where you're starting from, the bottom. And then once you have them up, you lift it up to the height you want to be at, and you go to town and get her done. So I guess this is going to end this short video. Hopefully, if you were going to change your brakes, whether it's factory or aftermarket, you can pick up on this video and learn something from it and see that it's not so bad. It's just time consuming, and just make sure everything is clean. When you're putting it back together, you use Loctite, use that grease that they give you on there, and, put your wheels and tires back on and call it a day. But make sure you do the brake-in on there, and it is on the box. Yeah, right here. It's a part of it. It tells you the steps. And I actually already told the client when I was on the phone with him that he'll be doing that. He knows from my prior works with him that I don't like driving clients' cars. Regardless of how nice they are, whether what kind of hot rod they are, a little bit if I have to, I will if that's the case. But for the most part, I don't want to, just in case. And I even told him that if I was to do the break-in, because of what he has to do, he has to accelerate and then he has to apply the brakes. And you'll see the procedure. If there happened to be a police officer around and he sees me doing it, not that me directly, but sees his car going through the speed up and shutting it down, and he might pull me over and ask me what the hell I'm doing, and I'm going to show him my license and hope that there's a registration and insurance in the car. And I'm going to say, well, I'm a mechanic and I'm working on the car and I'm just, doing the process on the brakes. And he might not believe me. I'll end up with a ticket. But if the client's doing it, it's his car. He has his insurance, his registration, his license will all match. And he could say, well, my mechanic put new brakes and rotors. You can go and check it out. And this is the break-in period for extreme power stops. See, so he might get away with it. I might not. And I don't want to take that chance. And I definitely don't want to get into an accident with a client's car. So that's another reason why I really don't like driving. Not that I would get in an accident, but the best way to avoid one is not to be there. That's right. So that's going to end this video on this beautiful 2018 TA Dodge Challenger. If you haven't subscribed, if you would, that'd be great. Give me a like, make a comment. Hopefully I'll see the comment. But until then, try to do it yourself and get it done. Thanks for watching.